Goliath and his unmatched might, a tale of fear and defiance. Imagine standing face to face with a man so colossal, so heavily armed, that his mere presence strikes terror into an entire nation. This is Goliath, a name etched in history as the most fearsome giant the Bible has ever known. But who was he really? And what made him such an enduring symbol of power and intimidation? Let's unravel the story of this towering figure, one that has sparked awe, debate, and fascination for centuries. The Bible paints an extraordinary picture of Goliath, a warrior champion from the Philistine camp, standing at an imposing height of over 9 feet, 1 Samuel 17 verse 4. He was no ordinary soldier. His size alone would have made him a formidable opponent, but it was his preparation for battle that cemented his reputation. Draped in a bronze helmet and clad in scale armor weighing over 125 pounds, Goliath was a walking fortress. His armor, made of overlapping metal plates, shimmered under the sun, a testament to the wealth and military prowess of the Philistines. Add to this his bronze greaves, a javelin slung across his shoulders, and a spear with a shaft like a weaver's beam, tipped with an iron head weighing 15 pounds, and you begin to see why he was considered unbeatable. But Goliath didn't fight alone. His shield-bearer preceded him, carrying a massive shield that covered him from head to toe, providing an extra layer of defense. Picture the scene: a colossal warrior, clad in impenetrable armor, flanked by a dedicated shield-bearer. Every step he took echoed with authority. Every shout he gave reverberated through the valley, shaking the resolve of even the bravest Israeli soldiers. Goliath wasn't just a warrior. He was a psychological weapon. For 40 days and nights, he taunted the Israelites, standing boldly on the battlefield and issuing a chilling challenge: a one-on-one combat to decide the fate of 2 nations. "Choose a man for yourselves and let him come down to me," he roared. "If he can fight me and kill me, we will become your servants. But if I prevail and kill him, you shall become ours." 1 Samuel 17 verses 8 to 9. His words were not mere threats. They were a strategic move to instill fear and crush the morale of his enemies. And it worked. Not a single soldier in King Saul's army dared to face him. What made Goliath so terrifying was not just his physical stature, but the audacity of his defiance. He didn't merely challenge the Israelites. He mocked their God. To the Philistines, Goliath was invincible, a symbol of their dominance. To the Israelites, he was an insurmountable threat, a walking embodiment of doom. But was he truly unbeatable? The story of Goliath is more than just a tale of a giant. It's a narrative of pride, fear, and the ultimate test of faith. As we delve deeper into his confrontation with David, the young shepherd who dared to accept his challenge, one question lingers: was Goliath's might his strength or his downfall? The answer lies in the heart of the story, one that continues to captivate believers and skeptics alike. The fateful encounter, David versus Goliath. Could a mere shepherd boy, armed with nothing but faith, stand against a giant who had terrorized an entire army? What unfolded on that battlefield defied logic, challenged beliefs, and became one of the most iconic moments in biblical history. David was not a warrior. He wasn't even old enough to serve in King Saul's army. A young shepherd from Bethlehem, David spent his days tending sheep in the hills, far removed from the tension of battle. But fate, or perhaps divine intervention, brought him to the Israelite camp just as Goliath issued his most scornful challenge. For 40 days, the towering Philistine mocked the Israelites and their God, daring anyone to face him. Yet, not a single soldier stepped forward. Fear gripped the camp like a plague. David arrived on an errand, sent by his father Jesse to bring food to his brothers and check on their well-being, 1 Samuel 17 verses 17 to 18. But what he found was a scene of despair. Soldiers cowered in their tents, avoiding Goliath's gaze, and whispers of defeat filled the air. David's heart burned with indignation. Who was this uncircumcised Philistine to defy the armies of the living God? 1 Samuel 17 verse 26. When David declared his intention to fight Goliath, disbelief swept through the camp. Even King Saul doubted him. "You are not able to go against this Philistine to fight with him," for you are but a youth, and he has been a warrior from his youth." 1 Samuel 17 verse 33. But David's response was resolute. He recounted how, as a shepherd, he had defended his flock from lions and bears, and he was confident the same God who delivered him from those beasts would deliver him from Goliath. Armed with a sling, 5 smooth stones, and unwavering faith, David stepped onto the battlefield. No armor, no sword, just a boy against a giant. Goliath, seeing his opponent, laughed in disdain. "MIA, dog, that you come to me with sticks?" he roared. 1 Samuel 17 verse 43. Yet David's reply was fearless. "You come to me with sword and spear and javelin, but I come to you in the name of the Lord of hosts." 1 Samuel 17 verse 45. What followed was a moment of divine destiny. With a single stone from his sling, David struck Goliath on the forehead, and the giant fell face down to the ground. One act of faith, one moment of courage, forever changed the course of history. But was it merely skill, or something greater? David's victory, faith triumphs over fear. How does a shepherd boy armed with nothing but a sling bring down a giant warrior cloaked in bronze? Was it skill, divine intervention, or something even more profound? This is the moment that redefined what true victory means. The battlefield was silent, save for the taunting voice of Goliath echoing across the valley. The Philistine giant, a figure of unparalleled strength and invincibility, towered over his opponents. For over 40 days, he had humiliated the Israelite army, daring them to send a challenger. Yet on this day, something unexpected, something miraculous, was about to happen. David stood across from Goliath, a striking contrast to his opponent. The young shepherd carried no armor, wielded no sword, and bore none of the physical strength that marked a traditional warrior. Instead, his weapon was unconventional, a simple sling and a handful of stones. But David carried something else, something unseen yet far more powerful. He carried unshakable faith. As Goliath mocked and cursed him, David's response was calm but resolute. "You come to me with a sword and a spear and a javelin, but I come to you in the name of the Lord of hosts, the God of the armies of Israel, whom you have defied." 1 Samuel 17 verse 45. His words, spoken with unwavering conviction, were as sharp as any weapon. The moment arrived. Goliath advanced, his massive frame a moving fortress of bronze. But David didn't retreat. Instead, he ran toward the giant, fearless and determined. Reaching into his pouch, he took out a smooth stone, placed it in his sling, and with precision born of both practice and providence, released it. The stone struck Goliath squarely on the forehead, embedding itself deeply. The giant staggered, then fell face first to the ground. Shock rippled through the Philistine ranks. Their champion, their symbol of dominance, was dead, felled by a single stone. Panic ensued, and the once confident Philistine army fled in chaos, pursued and utterly defeated by the Israelites. David's victory was not merely one of physical prowess or tactical brilliance. It was a testament to the power of faith. In this singular act, David demonstrated that no weapon, no army, and no giant can stand against the will of God. His triumph wasn't just over Goliath, it was a victory over fear, doubt, and the limitations of human understanding. But the question remains, was this an act of courage alone, or was it a divine moment meant to show the world the unstoppable force of faith? This victory echoes through history, challenging us to consider the source of our own strength in the face of giants. The Nephilim and Goliath's legacy, giants of the Bible. What if I told you the story of Goliath wasn't just about one giant, but an entire lineage of colossal warriors? A story that begins in Genesis, with the mysterious Nephilim, and stretches across battles where the impossible was faced and conquered. Who were these giants, and why do they matter? Let's uncover the truth. The Bible first introduces us to the Nephilim in Genesis 6 verse 4. The Nephilim were on the earth in those days, and also afterward, when the sons of God went to the daughters of men and had children by them. They were the heroes of old, men of renown. These enigmatic figures, described as mighty and renowned, have sparked centuries of debate. Were they fallen angels, hybrid beings, or something else entirely. What we do know is that they were massive, powerful, and feared by all who encountered them. Fast forward to the story of Goliath. This fearsome warrior wasn't an anomaly. He was part of a broader legacy of giants, descendants of the Nephilim. Known for their immense size and unparalleled strength, Goliath had brothers, also described as formidable giants, who continued to challenge the Israelites even after Goliath's death. These battles, recorded in 2 Samuel 21 and 1 Chronicles 20, reveal a deeper struggle between the Israelites and the remnants of this ancient lineage. One such brother, Lami, wielded a spear described as like a weaver's beam, a weapon so massive it symbolized the overwhelming power of these giants. Another unnamed giant is noted to have had 24 digits, 6 fingers on each hand and 6 toes on each foot. Yet despite their physical dominance, each of these giants met the same fate as Goliath. They fell not to the might of Israel's warriors, but to their faith in the God who delivered them. These stories are more than historical accounts. They're spiritual lessons. The giants symbolize the overwhelming challenges we all face, obstacles that seem insurmountable. Yet, just as David and his men triumphed, these tales remind us that true strength doesn't come from physical power or weapons. It comes from the divine support of God, who empowers the faithful to overcome the impossible. But here's the question that has divided theologians and intrigued believers. Were these giants purely physical beings, or do they represent something more? An ongoing battle between the forces of good and evil. The story of the Nephilim and Goliath descendants forces us to confront the mysteries of the Bible and the enduring power of faith in the face of unimaginable odds. Lessons and spiritual insights. The power of faith. What does the story of David and Goliath teach us beyond the battlefield? It's not just a tale of a boy defeating a giant. It's a profound reminder of how faith can turn the impossible into reality. But what does that mean for us today? As the video draws to a close, it's clear that this story is about much more than physical strength or clever tactics. It's about the unshakable courage that comes from trusting in God. David's triumph wasn't rooted in his skill with a sling or his daring spirit alone. It was his faith that moved mountains, or in this case, giants. His story challenges us to ask, when we face our own Goliaths, where do we place our trust? Life often feels like a battlefield, filled with challenges that seem insurmountable. Whether it's personal struggles, fears, or overwhelming odds, the giants we face can leave us paralyzed. But David's victory reminds us that we are never truly alone. The same God who empowered a young shepherd to defeat a warrior giant stands, ready to walk with us through our trials. Faith isn't just about believing, it's about acting on that belief. David stepped forward, not because he was fearless, but because he knew the power of God was greater than anything standing against him. It's this lesson that resonates deeply. With faith, courage, and God's help, we can overcome anything. But let's not forget the broader message of hope. Even in the darkest moments, when giants seem to dominate our lives, God's light shines through. He doesn't just help us survive the battles. He uses them to strengthen us, to teach us, and to prepare us for greater victories ahead. As 2 Corinthians 12 verse 9 reminds us, "My grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness." Now, as you reflect on this timeless story, consider how its lessons apply to your own life. Are you ready to face your giants with faith as your shield? Are you willing to trust in God's plan, even when the odds seem impossible? If this message has inspired you, take a step of faith and subscribe to this channel. Together, let's explore more of God's Word, finding courage, hope, and strength in every story. May the Lord bless you, guide you, and empower you to face life's challenges with unwavering faith. You are never alone, for God is always with you. Stay blessed, and we'll see you in the next video.